CTTB Music Podcast.
And we're back. And as we hit the end of the 8th month and deliver our 7th podcast of the year, which, as I said, for us is pretty good because it means we're almost on track for 12.
This is good for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing quite well.
It's also, we're doing this on the day 35 years ago that what single was released, Pete? From a band that you love, that I may have mentioned on the way back from
really
the bar.
Oh, did you? Oh my God.
So what was that single?
What was that single? 989. Yeah, I can do maths.
You weren't expecting a quiz, were you? Sorry.
I wasn't expecting a quiz. Oh my God. Did you use the expression "it's all right" or "left to my own devices" or anything like that?
No, I mentioned something more modal.
Personal Jesus? Is it Personal Jesus?
Personal Jesus
Oh
came
my
out
God.
35 years ago today.
So, oh my God. Wow.
Well done, though.
Thanks.
On that high point,
Wow. That's it. It's all downhill from here. Jeez.
we move on to the 5 albums we're discussing this evening. So, and those are Eminem, The Death of Slim Shady, Coup de Grâce, Speed, Only One Mode, Cassandra Jenkins, My Light, My Destroyer, Los Campesinos, All Hell,
Oh, you got it.
and John Grant. Is it The Art of the Lie or just Art of the Lie?
Art of the Lie.
Art of the,
Yeah.
Yeah, Art of the Lie.
Art of the Lie.
So, strange enough, it's only one of these artists we reviewed before. I kind of thought we might have done Eminem before.
No, I don't think we did. Or
But-
did we? No, we didn't, did we?
But I checked the spread list.
No, we haven't.
Spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet. No, we have never
It said
have.
we hadn't, but in
Right.
my head I kind of thought maybe that's one of the ones we'd lost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I did have a vague memory of us doing one.
Yeah, we have. I was convinced we'd done... Oh, well, it must have been... It's like later than Encore. It's like last 10 years.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a later one, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we lost that one.
Yeah. So anyway, it's the 12th studio album from Mr. Mathers. Is The Death of Slim Shady a good thing, Peter?
You're starting there, are you? I haven't even got my notes ready yet. I'm still reeling from that Depeche Mode fact. Oh God, 35 years, bloody hell. Right, here we go. Is it? Go on, repeat the question. What's going on?
Is The Death of Slim Shady a good thing or a bad thing?
Does it deliver a coup de grace?
Well, actually, that as well.
Yeah, okay. This was an album. This was tricky because
Keep eating it.
Yeah, in many ways it was quite enjoyable. But when you went back to it, you were just like, really, you're still getting away with this. And I know you're getting away with this, and you're being meta about getting away with this.
Indeed, yeah.
It's like the Deadpool of rap music. You know, it's like, yeah, we know you're talking to us through the fourth wall. We know exactly what's going on here, but somehow you're still getting away with this. Somehow. So in many ways, it's a smart album. In many ways, it's not. It has a lot to say about... I think it has a lot to say about him and how he perceives the world right now. He is obviously out to offend, as always, but does this behind the guise of Slim Shady.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
But that's the point. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. It's like,
but does that justify what's in it? That's the question.
It's not me saying it; it's him saying it.
Yeah.
And it's like, huh? You with me? Yeah. Okay.
Nudge, wink, wink. Yeah.
Nudge, wink, wink. Exactly. So I mean, and actually, that's one of the more interesting things about this. This album's a rap battle between two amazing rappers.
Both of whom are the same.
Both of whom are the same guy. Which is interesting, which is entertaining. But how deep does that go? Is it a classic? No, because you listen to it. I listened to it the first time. I thought, yeah, it's quite fun. Then I listened to it again. I thought, it's stretching this somehow. I mean, it's really. I mean, for all the things that we say about. For all the things we say about modern rap albums, and we've said a few things on this podcast, and they're usually very positive. It is very well produced. It's very clever in some ways. It's very offensive in other ways.
Yes.
He offers up this cartoon villain of himself in his prime, but then he juxtaposes that with the person he is now. I mean, there is, the whole theme of the album is Slim's going to get me cancelled. So here it is. I'm just going to get cancelled, and it's there. For some reason, he's still making fun of, as he calls them, small people. He then goes down the whole trans rights thing. I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah.
The Christopher Reeves track that he ditched from a previous album because it was very close. Allegedly. Although I do seem to remember a rumbling of controversy around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's an odd one because I'm thinking now apart from people that are our age.
Yeah. No one would know.
They would know.
No, who is this guy?
Who Christopher Reeves is.
No, exactly. So, and it even sounds younger on the song as well. It's almost like he's directly lifted that from an earlier tape. Yeah. He puts that on here just to make a point. About cancelling himself. It's a quandary. It's a quandary because look, if you're a fan, is this as good as it gets? Is this as good as he's been for many years? Probably, actually. It's kind of in the upper echelons of. I think if he was hoping to stir the pot and remind everyone that he's here, he's done that. How does it sit now, though? I think that's a question he asked himself when he's sort of like, well, Gen Z will be listening to this. How do they feel? I think it's a legit question. And then there's a couple of things on here that are really sort of introspective. There's a couple of tracks about his daughter and his children.
Yes.
Actually, they're quite moving, and this is the other thing about this whole supposed battle between his alter egos. Without spoilers, there comes a moment in the album where the question of who wins that battle is resolved, and actually, I think the album then loses something. Ironically, that tension between Slim and Marshall disappears.
Yeah.
And you end up, I'd say the final third of the album is just a little bit flat. But within that particular section, you've got probably two of the sweetest...
Very heartfelt stuff, yeah.
Two of the most sweetest heartfelt songs he's probably ever done. One particularly about his daughter Hayley, and one about his family at large, which are very heartfelt. So it's very hard to sort of say, this is not the genuine Marshall Mathers, or the genuine Slim Shady, or the genuine Eminem. All of them meet here. I came away from this album confused, but actually thinking, look, I'll be honest, I enjoyed it the first time I listened to it, and then I felt guilty about enjoying it because it was horrible.
Yeah.
Deliberately so. And then I went back and listened to it again, and I was like,
I think
that's how I feel.
No, I think I agree with you. Everything you said there is very true. I mean, the whole, like I said, it is. It's set up, and he said that it's a concept album.
Yeah.
And so you should listen to it start to finish rather than the begin. So even
definitely don't just drop in. Listen to the whole thing.
But it is very much a cake and eat itself. Of going, yeah. Look, I'm going to offend people, but I am going to do it with a nod and a wink. But obviously, I don't really believe that. But obviously, that's fine. So you can't be offended by it because you know that I'm just kind of going, that's Slim saying that, which I think is just a bit lazy.
A little. He used to be smarter.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it is kind of like, here's my shtick from 30 years ago. The Christopher Reeves thing is a perfect example. You think, really?
Yeah,
it's just like... it's just...
he almost dropped it. I feel with that one, it almost deliberately said, here's an offcut from a previous album 20 years ago. I've dropped it in here to make a point. It's just like, this is how edgy I used to be. And I know this is really offensive.
I know, but is it edgy? That's the thing. It's just a bit...
It's quite...
crap.
But it's easy points, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
It's easy point scoring if you're out to offend someone.
But as you kind of alluded to, the fact is that there's still a lot to admire on the album, and a lot to admire about the fact that he is still a fantastic rapper.
Yeah.
And his turn of phrase is still...
It's poetic.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of...
Yeah.
Clever, funny stuff on this album. I no particular things that were just there was several. There was lots more than this, but that made me laugh. So it's like when rappers like Jada bring out the will in you.
Yes,
which is
things like that.
So that there's a line saying, "Don't know what the cause be," following a joke about Bill Cosby, which I think is quite good. And then obviously towards the end of the album, there's the miniature golf. I thought you said meant to jerk off.
yeah.
Which again, it's genuinely clever and genuinely funny. Yeah. And as you said, there's also some self-reflective stuff, which is good. And also, as you said, it is still probably his best work in a decade at least, despite all the issues with the album. But then it does ultimately, which I think you were kind of alluding to a certain point, it does kind of make you kind of think. You know, move on, do better.
Yeah.
I still, you're thinking, you still have the chops to do this.
Yeah.
Make another great album, right? And you kind of believe there is another great album.
Maybe that's
at least one other great album in there. And I think maybe that's the point of saying I'm now killing off Slim Shady, and this is now. I'm drawing the curtain on this, and then. We go again in a couple of years' time. Who knows?
He even refers to the more reflective, more mature Marshall Mathers more in that. The more and Slim inverted commas sort of has a go at him for that. And I think maybe that's where this is potentially leading. It's like I'm clearing the decks. It's the ultimate. I'm killing off Ziggy Stardust so I can move on.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah,
because like I said, there's more than enough evidence here that he's still got the ability, and there's a reason why anybody that's actually knows anything about rap music rates Eminem.
Yeah,
it's not just because of the sales.
No,
it's because he is a genuine talent.
Absolute genius, and yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think there is that's perhaps where this is leading. I mean, God knows, look at America right now. There is so much subject material there. He's only scratched the surface on this. Oh, we've been joined by a dog.
Hello, Walter.
Hey, Walter's first podcast.
Making a guest appearance.
Yay.
Hello.
How you doing? Right, okay. Yeah.
Hello.
Right, we're doing this.
You're going to start barking in a minute, just to kind of add some addition. Go into Sarah's room.
Nah, he's gone.
Sarah, Walter's coming to see you.
There you go.
Okay, we move on.
We
move on, and to immediate change of direction. This is one of those interesting podcasts. This particular one, because we are covering the genres pretty much on this one. We move on to the debut album from an Australian hardcore thrash punk band called Speed, called Only One Mode. And this album lasts just shy of 25 minutes.
So short.
I'll be honest, the first time I listened to it, it felt longer.
It did.
However, moving on, straight away.
Yes. Let's get past that.
I loved the start of the album. Mm-hmm. It starts off with this kind of like weird kind of flute panpipe thing before you get this really nice blast of guitars. And as I said, you then get 25 minutes of like 3 minute long, well, sub 3 minute mostly.
Yeah.
Songs that remind me a lot of early Anthrax, but with growling rather than singing. And because of that, it's never really as good as early Anthrax, because on this evidence, they don't seem to write any melodies. That said, kind of quite liked Kill Cap, which is in the middle of the album. And there were various brief moments across the whole thing that piqued my interest. There was like a riff here, a transition there, bass bit here, stuff like that I quite liked. But overall, there just wasn't enough to kind of just bring me back in. So this is going to be probably my shortest review of the evening. It's just like, it's the shortest album of the podcast, and also it's like, apparently they've got good big following happening, but I was struggling to kind of find why on the basis of this album. I'm guessing it's mainly off the live stuff, maybe they're a bit more killer live, but like I said, most good hardcore bands, even thrash bands, still have kind of like hooky melodies to kind of pull people in, regardless of what's going on around it. And I kind of thought this was kind of a bit lacking in that.
Yeah, I agree. I've written here punk metal with clean production.
The production's very good. It does sound very
clean. You know, and actually, yeah, it opens well, and you do have a pretty good flow the first couple of tracks. But like you, I think that the highlights for me came in the middle of the album, where it feels like there's a little bit more variety, a little bit with riffs. Yes. You mentioned the riffs. It feels like there are some interesting riffs. Kill Cap is what? Only Foes. Send Them to Sydney, which amused me.
Yeah, Send Them to Sydney is quite funny.
Yeah, it's quite funny. So that's what I liked. And it was quick as well. It didn't feel quick.
Yeah, any album that's 25 minutes is
a winner.
Is a winner for as far as our podcast is good, absolutely.
Yeah, and so each of the tracks are very short. Album overall is very short. But yeah, it feels like, yes, this feels like a really good set. That perhaps hasn't translated to record as well.
Yeah, maybe
it perhaps lacks some of the energy of the vibe.
Maybe being a vibe of being in the live environment, seeing them live might be kind of like.
I imagine them. Yeah, them playing this over 25 minutes, you'd probably be blown away. You'd be like, "My God, fuck, this is good."
You'd be knackered, probably.
You'd be knackered by the end of it, yeah. Particularly if you're our age, but you know. So yeah, I give them that. But yeah, it was a little bit too clean. Whatever that means.
Right, changing tack once again. We go to Cassandra Jenkins.
Oh wow.
My Light, My Destroyer. Third album from the New York singer-songwriter. Who again, we're another artist we haven't covered before in this podcast, and actually an artist that I wasn't aware of before this podcast either. So again, this is quite short. I think this is 34 minutes, so again quite on the short side. Winner, chicken dinner? No.
This is another one. So I listened to this right after Speed.
So did I.
So it's like very much a very sharp left turn.
Yeah, I also did that thing going. Oh, what am I going to listen to this? I'll listen to this.
This.
Okay, that's slightly different.
Yeah, I mean it's a delightful, folksy sort of album. It's ambient pop.
Yes.
And it's just very evocative lyrically and musically. You know exactly. You know she's from New York. You know it's been recorded in America. It's about America. It creates the landscapes and the songs give you exactly where you are and what you need to know. And particularly there's those little ambient interventions or
I really like
tracks in between.
Really like the ambient interventions.
Yeah, it starts with Shatner's theme, which is a bit spacey, and then the final one is called Haley.
Yes.
Now, I don't often do this, but I did a little research into her, and then I discovered her first on her previous album. She also had a track called Haley.
Oh, okay.
Spelt differently.
Oh.
So you get Haley Hay. And not on this album, HAI on the previous album.
Yes.
So there you go, fat fans. That means nothing to this review. Sorry. Walter's getting a bit. Hello, Walter. So here we are.
Sorry, the podcast has been crashed by the dog.
It's been crashed by the dog. He's going to join in.
Yeah, he is going to join in.
He's a good dog.
He's feeling like he's left out.
Yeah. So what did I like? What were the highlights? I love there's that line in Clam's Casino, I don't want to work from home anymore. Yeah, I know what you mean. Aurora, Illinois. Wonderful.
Yes, great.
Amaxe? Of kind of sort of in the enigmatic middle of the album, very sort of gentle sonic sort of indie sound. Really like that. I think the other one for me was Tape and Issue, which is a sort of slow jazz kind of. There was a bit of a drum infused drum beat, very hypnotic. Really sort of drew me in as well. And the closing track for me was great too. So I mean, overall, that kind of ambient sort of throughput that went all the way across was really interesting, and again over half an hour, can't beat it really.
No, I agree with that. I have to say, when I first put this on after listening to Speed, it was bizarre because the opening track, Devotion, is very mellow, very laid back, in fact positively horizontal, laid back, and I was thinking, Jesus, I hope the whole album is like this because I'll just be I'll drift it off. Thankfully, it's not. Although it is quite laid back.
Yeah.
But there are moments in it where it gets slightly more. Well, slightly more. As you've covered, it gets slightly more interesting. I genuinely think Devotion, which is the opening track, is possibly the worst track on the album, and it's a really bad opening track. So it is dull as fuck. I'm sorry.
I haven't mentioned it.
Yeah, it is.
I've mentioned all the subsequent ones. Yeah.
Really, really dull. And as you said, it then goes into Clam's Casino, which is like a nice,
really good. Yeah.
really lovely kind of indie guitar tune. And you're thinking, oh yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Definium Blue and Petco, which I've mentioned, are probably two of my favourite tracks on the album.
Yeah.
Definium Blue is a mellower track, bit more kind of what does it sound like? Well, obviously it sounds like Cassandra, but just a bit more kind of like it's kind of relaxed but still kind of indie, and you're thinking, oh, this is really cool. The interlude tracks you mentioned are really great.
Yeah.
There were moments when it was reminded me of other artists, so there were hints of Amy Mann, hints of Sarah McLachlan in her vocal delivery on a couple of tracks, and I enjoyed it. But then again, as with the Speed album, I was getting to a point where thinking, am I really going to come back to this record? And I'm thinking, no, not really.
No.
It's like, it's
okay.
It's alright, she's fine, but am I going to be checking out the previous albums? No. So again, it was tick for being closer to the 30-minute mark again, thinking, yes, thank you very much. Let's go back to the UK and Los Campesinos.
Campesinos.
A British indie pop band.
All hell.
Yeah. Their first album in over a decade. And I thought, put this on, and I was thinking, where are we now? And then within about 2 minutes I was thinking, this is how indie pop should sound. My foot started tapping.
Yeah.
At the start. Literally, my foot started tapping. And pretty much continued throughout, I have to say. Yeah, we've got songs about capitalism, coin operated guillotine, get a gold, holy smoke, last conservative government, long throws, spots, for fuck's sake, adult acne stigma, turning to alcohol, most of the tracks. And all this goes along with just some great tunes and melodies. Yes, Speed, melodies. All sung by Gareth Paisley. Paisley, no, it's Paisley. Except KOS, which is sung by his sister, Kim. And this is another way thing, since obviously this is, like I said, this is 7th studio album and first in a decade. Another band I'd never really paid much attention to. I mean, I had heard the odd track here and there in the past, but again, it was nothing that had driven me to an album to kind of like check them out more thoroughly, as it were. And in a week where an indie rock band has announced a comeback, having some proper indie pop felt like a treat all of a sudden, I have to be honest. Given how much we've railed on this podcast over the years of the lack of good indie music, we've got a bit better in the last couple of years. I thought, oh yeah, and this like the album we were just talking about the Cassandra album, you know, has some interludes. So we have 3 kind of folky interludes. One that's actually a song interlude, and 2 that are short instrumental interludes. I'm not sure they were actually needed in the album per se, but they're still nice and I quite like them. I love the fact that there are tons of football references.
Yes!
And apparently, having read up, this is a thing that Gareth Paisley is well known for, shoehorning things in. So you've got kind of like long throws, spelt differently, but long throws.
Yeah.
Sunday League in coin op, playing the high line and XG in all of the seasons. Undeserved last minute winner in Hand Job. It's not the full title of the song, but that's the thing. Which made me smile. And I have to say, musically, this is probably the album that gave me the most joy in the podcast.
Oh, nice.
The first time in a long while. Well, because of the first time in a long while, my touched on text and stuff. I found my revision hard going. And I went to the time of year or whatever. I found my revision hard going this time around. Felt like something to be endured rather than something to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
And when this album kicked in, chock full of infectious melodies and fun lyrics, it kind of suddenly reminded me again of why we do this and why I enjoy doing this.
You're right.
Like I thought, yeah. So I enjoyed this album, and I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, absolutely. We've come off a run of good podcasts, content-wise. It did feel at times this was a bit more of a slog. Maybe it's the time of year.
Yeah, maybe it is.
It's all slow summer, and this fit the mood perfectly because it's just middle of the road, indie pop, emo jams, as our American listeners would say. Not that we have any. That tick along pleasantly enough. I found. What I actually found about this whole sort of this, it's very British, but actually musically I found it very US, very sort of Midwestern, sort of Americana. It's indie but Americana at the same time. But yet the lyrics are so British, with a Welsh, but so the references to football, long throws. I completely missed the politics the first time I listened to it. I just assumed it was all about football because it's not. It's about politics. Holy Smoke 2005 was brilliant. Order of the Seasons for me was
good song.
And then of course the Kanye referencing 0898 Heart and a Heartbreak. You know.
It's a grower, that one.
That's that clever. Hey, I see what you did there. But that's a grower as well, you know. So I agree with you. This was fun. In a podcast of some quite serious albums, some quite challenging albums. This was actually quite a bit of light relief. It was fun. Indeed.
So we end with Mr. John Grant, 6th studio album. We've reviewed 3 previous on the podcast.
We have.
Boy from Michigan, podcast 5, 2021.
The most recent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grey Tickle's Black Pressure on podcast 10, 2015.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, the majestic Pound Green Ghosts on podcast 4, 2030.
Which still ranks in our greatest, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely. And I actually listened to it about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Having not listened to it for a while.
Yeah.
And once again kind of went, you know what? This is a really fucking good
It's a really good album.
Really good record.
Yeah,
really good record.
I meant to say earlier, actually, I did the same with Eminem. I went back to the Marshall Mathers LP.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Also a really good record. Anyway, more to the point. How are we rating John Grant 2024, Pete?
Deep breath. This album opens with a fantastic electro funk disco track.
Yes.
All That School for Nothing, which is classic John Grant in the sense of lyrically it's biting, but it's fun.
Yes.
It has the message, it has the humour, it has the sarcastic lyrics, it has the clearly painful parental insults buried within. And you think, okay, right, this is good.
And musically, I was trying to play. It reminded me of so many kind of late 70s kind of things, and including a couple. I was thinking, no, it sounds like that thing, but I've yet to be able to kind of figure out what it sounded like.
Yeah. And it's followed by a more melancholy, but again classic in his delivery. Marbles, which is a John Grant song. It's him singing
very
it.
Much so.
He's not singing it through a vocoder like he is on the previous track. It's him singing it, and you think, okay, this is here he is. And then it's followed by Father, which is then followed by Mother and Son.
They're not related, bizarrely.
Which are completely not related.
Just to fucking throw you.
Yeah.
If you look at it, one is genuinely about his father.
Yeah.
Mother and Son is just about a mother and son.
Yeah. And this is the point where I feel... this is the point where I started to find it challenging, because I was like, okay, so we've started on a real pop high, and we have gone from there, and over the 4 tracks, we've gone right... The energy has gone right down.
Yes, the tone has dropped.
The tone has dropped so far. I think the pace struggles to come back from that, to be honest with you. And as a listener of the album, you struggle to come back because you struggle to come back from that because he's taking you down into deliberately so, I'm sure, into a very darker, slower place. The pace does return ish. There's the amusing interlude of Twisted Scriptures, followed by Me KF.
Yes, which kind of basically they're sort of one track really. Because it's the setup for Me KF.
And then you get Daddy. And I must be honest, I was losing my patience by this point. The first time I listened to the album.
Yeah.
I mean, I went back and I listened again, and perhaps I'm a little bit more forgiving now. But it was a real challenge that first time listening to the album. It really was. And the first half in particular, after the very up-tempo start, it just sort of really grinds to a halt. I mean, I don't want to be saying this because obviously we really do like John Grant on this podcast. We do. But I have to say I found this a challenging album.
That is quite amusing to me in some ways, because I was coming into this podcast thinking I am going to say a lot of what you just said, and you're going to go, this is fucking great. Because I had a lot of the same kind of thing. My big issue was it's just too long.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And over half the tracks on the album are plus 6.5 minutes. And you're thinking, John, really?
Yeah.
Can we have a word here? Can we? No.
Yeah.
Seriously, brevity. And it's not to say the songs themselves are bad. No. I mean, Marbles. No. I love Marbles.
Love Marbles.
That's one thing. But there are bits I'm thinking, this could be shorter, because there's several bits. One of the other tracks has got a really nice instrumental bit in it. I don't think it's Father, but one of the ones that's got really a couple of bits that could go on. You're thinking, that's lovely, but you're thinking, however, a bit like you're saying, I'm thinking, however, I'm now out of the moment and I'm kind of bored, and I shouldn't be bored listening to a John Grant album.
No, exactly. This is how I felt. I mean, it's like Zeitgeist at the end pulls it back a little for me, but
The song about his father is genuinely lovely and genuinely touching.
Yeah.
There's, again, as you mentioned, lyrically he's still there.
He's very on point. Again,
still brilliant in both being cutting, being funny, and also having great juxtapositions of stuff. So it's in I can't remember which song it's in, but it's going. It's like I brandish my my trademark aloof cynicism or something, and I've taken up macrame or whatever it is to deal with the backlash. Then it's just like, clearly, yes. It's just going, I'm feeling aloof, I'm taking up macrame.
Yes.
But it is just one of those things you wouldn't get from normal people writing lyrics. It's, that's not on the Speed album.
No.
But yes, so it is interesting that you two touched on the fact that it's just,
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed the previous album more.
Yes, I did, and I think we. Do you know? I feel like we had a similar conversation with Gray. Is it Gray? I can never remember. Gray Tickles.
Yes, we weren't a huge fan of that.
No, I'm beginning. He's falling into the every other theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think we liked it, but obviously because Penguin Ghost was such a
so high.
Well, he started with two bangers because he obviously started with Queen of Denmark and then Penguin Ghost, which
both bangers.
Yeah.
And then Grey Tickles, a bit more challenging. Then the Boy from Michigan's really great.
Yeah.
This one again more challenging. Repeated listen probably needed.
I did had final.
It's going to be my album of the year.
I genuinely got my third listening to it earlier on today, and my opinion of it has improved since then. But I still hold what I've just said that it's too long.
Yep.
And it's just too. Yeah. It's just. Yeah. The flow just doesn't grab.
No,
me as
it
other stuff has,
and then
so then Pete,
and on that bum note, where do we land on this podcast? Because I'll be honest, this was a challenge.
Yeah. So for me, actually, Mike, Los Campesinos is the winner for me.
It's the winner.
Simply because it was my foot got tapping and I was going, I have some joy in my life suddenly, whereas everything else is a bit. I know
what you mean.
It's just the Eminem album has its moments.
Yeah.
As the John Grant album has its moments.
Yeah.
But I think they're both flawed in different ways.
Yeah.
I'm sure John Grant would have lots of things to say about the lyrical content of the Eminem album.
That would be a collaboration I'd love to see, actually. I agree with you. I think it is Los Campesinos. For me as well. Eminem I enjoyed, but then felt bad about enjoying.
Yes, I think that's a fair statement, to be honest.
On so many levels.
Right, so onwards and upwards to September.
Woo!
And some great albums coming out, maybe.
Woo!
Who knows?
Not an Oasis one though, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Maybe.
No, definitely. Oh, Jesus Christ! There we go.
The CTTB Music Podcast is a Vineland Studios recording.